In the heart of a quiet suburban neighborhood, there was a house that stood out for all the wrong reasons. The woman who lived there, Emma, was the subject of endless whispers. People didn't know her well, and what they did know, they often misunderstood. Emma had two young children, and every evening, like clockwork, they were out playing on the streets. The sight was strange to the neighbors. No matter the time of day, the kids would be running around, playing with other children, or simply wandering the block. Most mothers would be scolding their kids to come inside by nightfall, but Emma never seemed to mind. In fact, she was never seen with them at all, unless it was brief, fleeting moments when she rushed outside to give them something. Then, just as quickly, she disappeared back into the house. What the neighbors didn't know was that Emma's home was not a place of warmth or comfort. It was silent, save for the loud music she often blared from her speakers. Whether it was in the afternoon or late at night, the music never stopped. Sometimes it was rock music, other times classical, but it was always at full volume, loud enough to rattle the windows. The noise would fill the neighborhood, sending everyone scurrying to their windows, wondering why anyone would need to play music that loudly, especially a mother with children. But Emma's behavior was even more confusing than just the music. On several occasions, she had been spotted walking around in flimsy, almost see-through fabrics, as if she didn't care who saw her. It wasn't that her clothes were fashionable or bold, they were simply inappropriate, almost as if she were hiding something or trying to get attention. People didn't know what to think. Some whispered she was loose or strange, but no one truly knew her story. And then there was the perfume. It wasn't just a light spritz. It was thick and overpowering, a sweet floral scent that lingered in the air long after she had passed. No one could figure out why she wore so much perfume. They talked about it too, in hushed voices. Why did she drown herself in fragrance? Was it vanity, or was it something more? One day, Laura, a kind-hearted woman from the neighborhood, decided that she couldn't stay silent anymore. Laura was not like the others. She didn't judge Emma based on the stories she'd heard. She was a mother herself with two children and knew how tough life could get. She had often seen Emma from her window, and she'd noticed how the woman never seemed at peace. She couldn't help but feel that there was more to the story. One afternoon, Laura baked a batch of cookies and decided to take them over to Emma's house. As she walked up the front steps, she hesitated. She could hear the loud music blaring through the walls. Emma was home. She knocked on the door, but there was no answer. A few minutes later, the door creaked open, revealing Emma in one of her thin, almost translucent dresses. Her hair was disheveled and her face looked pale, as if she hadn't slept in days. "Oh, hi," Emma said, surprised. "I wasn't expecting company." "I brought some cookies," Laura replied, smiling warmly. "I thought you might like some, and I wanted to check on you. I've noticed you've been a bit distant lately." Emma blinked, then looked down at the cookies in Laura's hands. "Oh, thank you. I don't get many visitors." Laura stepped inside. The house was dimly lit, with heavy curtains blocking out the sunlight. The smell of perfume hung thick in the air, mixed with the old, stale scent of old furniture. The walls, once bright, had begun to fade, and the furniture was sparse, showing signs of wear. Emma led Laura to the living room, where the music was still playing loudly in the background. She sat down slowly on the couch, almost as if her body was heavy, exhausted. Laura took a seat beside her, offering the cookies. "You don't have to play the music so loud, you know. I don't mind, but I wonder if it helps you." Emma glanced up at her, almost startled, as if no one had ever asked her that before. She seemed to struggle for words before answering. "The noise. It drowns out everything else. It drowns out the pain." Laura frowned. "Pain? What do you mean?" Emma took a deep breath, her eyes clouding with emotion. "I have cancer. Skin cancer. The kind that doesn't just take your life, it takes everything. The pain is unbearable sometimes, and the treatments, they leave my skin raw. I wear clothes like this, she gestured to her thin, almost translucent dresses, because any other fabric makes my skin burn. I can't stand it. Laura's eyes widened in shock. She had never imagined this was the cause of Emma's unusual behavior. The music, she continued, I turn it up so loud because sometimes when the pain is too much, I scream. And I don't want my children to hear me. I don't want them to see me crying, to know that their mother is breaking. So I let them play outside. I let them run. I let them be free because inside, I am not who I want to be. I'm someone they don't need to see. Laura felt a lump form in her throat. She had misjudged Emma. She had thought the woman was careless, distant, even neglectful. But now, sitting here, hearing the raw truth, she could see it all. Emma was a mother fighting a battle so fierce, so private, that she had to wear a mask for the world. I wear the perfume, Emma added, wiping her eyes, because my skin smells. The treatments leave a horrible odor, and I don't want my children to hate being near me. I don't want them to pull away from me because of the way I smell. The perfume, it's all I have left to make them feel safe, to make them feel like I'm still their mother. Laura reached out, her hand gently touching Emma's. You don't have to do this alone, she said softly. We're here. The neighbors, me, my friends, we're here for you. You don't have to hide anymore. Emma looked at her, a tear escaping down her cheek. But they'll never understand. They don't need to understand. They just need to know you're human and you're doing your best. We're not perfect. We all have our struggles. Over the next few weeks, Laura worked with the other women in the neighborhood to help Emma. They took turns looking after her children, bringing meals, offering emotional support, and most importantly, understanding. Slowly, the community began to change its perception of Emma. They stopped whispering and started reaching out. They also learned to respect her space. They didn't question the loud music or the scent of perfume anymore. Instead, they saw a woman who was fighting for her life, a woman doing the best that she could in a situation none of them could truly understand. A few months later, Emma passed away. The news spread quickly through the neighborhood, and it hit harder than anyone expected. For all the gossip, the judgment, and the misunderstandings, they all had seen her as someone else, someone they could distance themselves from. But when Emma was gone, they felt the loss deeply. The realization that she had been a mother in pain, a woman fighting an invisible war, made her death more profound. The community gathered to mourn her. The women who had helped her, the ones who had baked meals, watched her children, and offered their support, stood together, silently grieving the woman who had been misunderstood, but who had in the end found care and kindness in the hearts of her neighbors. And there was no regret. They knew they had done everything they could to help Emma. It wasn't just about the music or the perfume anymore. It was about being there when it counted. It was about showing up when the world seemed too dark for her to see. And as the neighbors stood by Emma's grave, they all understood the same thing. Sometimes the people who appear to be the most distant or strange are the ones carrying the heaviest burdens. And the only way to truly help them is to be present, not just with words, but with compassion, understanding, and empathy. And for that, they were grateful.